Hello Year 8, I am here just to go through the answers to the metals and non-metals lessons from Monday of this week. So to start with, you were asked to type what you could remember about an element and an atom. So if you looked back at your notes that you made from the last couple of weeks, an atom is a small particle from which all substances are made, and an element is made of only one type of atom. So an element is bigger than an atom, but they are linked because elements are made from only one type of atom. Okay, and then you were given a little challenge. On the next slide is a picture of a periodic table. Type where you think the metals and non-metals are. So you had a slide like this. All you had to do was press type, and then you had to decide which side you thought was metals and which side you thought was non-metals. And then the next slide told you the answer, and it showed you where they split up along this red line here, and that the left-hand side of the table is metals and the right-hand side is non-metals. Okay, and you were asked to name 3 metals you knew. So you could maybe have used some of the symbols on this periodic table. These are what you came up with as a whole class: gold, iron, silver, copper, bronze, brass, steel, aluminium, zinc, lithium, mercury, titanium. All excellent examples. And name 3 non-metals. So you came up with lots and lots of things. Now, ideally, we would link them to this section on the periodic table because we are talking about atoms and elements, but you still had some good examples. So oxygen, yes. Carbon dioxide, water, carbon on its own. Sulfur, plastic, paper, rubber, chlorine, carbon monoxide, hydrogen, nitrogen, phosphorus, bromine, helium. All fantastic examples that you came up with. And then you were asked to read this information about the properties. So you remember we talked a couple of weeks ago about properties being the way a material behaves. So metals behave differently to non-metals. And it introduced lots and lots of different words to you here. So lustrous, which means something is shiny. Sonority, which means, or sonorous, which means something will ding when you hit it. It will make a ringing sound. They have high melting points. They're good conductors of electricity, good conductors of heat. Metals have a high density. So that means there's a lot of particles packed into its tiny size, a high mass for its size. Malleable means it can be bent or hammered into shape. Ductile means it can be made into long wires without snapping. Metals are fairly opposite. Non-metals are opposite of metals. So where metals are shiny, non-metals are dull. Where metals have high melting points, non-metals have low melting points. Where metals are good conductors of electricity, non-metals are bad conductors of electricity. Okay? Non-metals are also poor conductors of heat, and they have a low density, a low mass for its size, and they're brittle. So instead of being malleable and ductile, if you try and bend or hammer or pull out a non-metal, it will shatter easily. Now I just want to remind you about this button here called Immersive Reader. If you struggle to read large amounts of text, you can press the Immersive Reader button and then click play.
Big question. What are the differences between metals and non-metals?
Okay, so it will read the slide to you so that you don't have as much reading to do if you need some help pronouncing those words. So the next 3 questions were about this information, so you can flick easily back to check your answers. What did the word malleable mean? It meant can be bent or hammered into shape. What do we mean by highly dense? It has a high mass for its size. What did we mean by ductile? It can be made into long wires without snapping. So all 3 of these words were here on this page for you to check those definitions. So you can flick back and check. Now, there's a picture of the periodic table earlier, and this statement, metals are on the right side of the periodic table. Drag your dot to indicate whether you agree or disagree. So if I go back and look at the periodic table, because I can skip through my slides, metals are on the right-hand side. So if I look at this, I can see metals are on the left-hand side. So that statement must be incorrect. We must disagree with that, okay? Now, you were asked to watch this video. It is important that you watch these videos because they're going to give you the answers that we're expecting on the next few questions. And it's really easy to make the video play. All you have to do is click on it and it will take you straight to YouTube, and then you can, watch the video, and then you can just come back to your app like that. Okay? So in the video, it described many properties of metals. You were asked for 3. Now it's important if you ask for 3 things that you write 3 things down. Okay, you could choose from, I've just noticed a mistake there. Okay, conduct. Okay, so 3 properties of metals. They are hard, they are malleable, which means they can be beaten into sheets. Conductive or conductivity, they are good at heat and electricity passing through them. Shiny or lustrous, I've also spelled lustrous wrong there as well. My spelling is not very good under pressure there, is it? Okay. Fusible was mentioned in the video. I'm not really sure. They didn't describe what that meant to us, so it wasn't very clear what they were talking about there. Okay, and ductile can be drawn into wires. But you could remember that you could skip back to that page of text which had all those answers on. So the video talked about the properties of non-metals. So the ones mentioned in the video were brittle, soft, so they become a powdery substance, that's another spelling mistake, on breaking down. They are bad conductors of heat or electricity. They're not shiny. We use the word dull to describe them. But again, you could have skipped back to that list on that page that was written. Watch a video about the uses of metals and non-metals. So these questions, lots of you had described uses that were mentioned in the first video, but not ones that were mentioned in the second video, which made me wonder whether you watched the second video. So what it suggests in the video was you think of the properties and that will lead you to the uses. So if something is lustrous or has luster and is shiny, it would be useful for jewellery and ornaments. Ductile, pulled into wires, so we use metals to make wires. Malleable, so we make metal into thin sheets, which then can be used to build aeroplanes or cars and things like that. Conduct heat, so we use it in the kitchen for metal pans and kitchen utensils. Sonorous, so it rings when you hit it. That means we can use it to make bells. Okay, so they were all mentioned in the video. 3 uses of non-metals. So specifically in the video, and I can tell that some of you Googled this. Okay, I've just spotted another spelling mistake. My spelling has been terrible today. It's not an excuse, but it's because I'm also homeschooling a child, I believe. I'm distracted easily. Okay, so uses of non-metals mentioned in the video clip. Purification of water, synthesis, which means making chemicals, so the building up of chemicals, making fertilizers, making pesticides, and making medicine. So the example in the video was iodine, which has got antimicrobial properties, so it's used when people have operations. Okay, and then you were asked to reflect on today's activities. Lots of you keep skipping this question, but if you don't give me any feedback about what you're enjoying and what you don't like, or what was easy and what was hard, then I can't really change anything. So you like the interactivity. So you're still enjoying Pear Deck, which is good to know, those of you that said it. And actually having some videos to watch instead of just reading yourself is something that people are enjoying. And some people have enjoyed writing today. What was happening, though, when I read these feedback slides was something that says, what was easy? And you just write the word metal. What was easy? Metal. What didn't you like? Metals. What was hard? Nothing. If you just wrote yes or no or nothing, it was all simple. If you're not explaining to me, you're not giving me any sort of guidance about how I can change it and make it better, then things probably won't change. They'll stay the same. Okay? But thank you very much for your hard work again. Those of you that completed today's work will be able to get the link to see what your answers were. And hopefully this video has helped you to go through the answers and work out where you went wrong, so that tomorrow, which will be Thursday, everything will be much easier because you know what you should have known for today. Okay, see you in the next video.